Howdy folks, welcome to episode 3 of Vinyl and Hops, presented by Live on Tape Delay, the best podcast in the world. Not a sponsor.
Kind of.
I guess they are kind of a sponsor. In today's episode, it's kind of a two-part, it's a bonus for you, because Ray Beans is going to talk about some obscure vinyl that he has, and I am going to talk about some of my favorite albums, favorite metal albums that I have on vinyl. So let's dive in to, let's see.
Our beer?
Our beer, that's right. It's called Vinyl and Hops, not Vinyl and Vinyl. What do we got? What are we drinking?
Today we have Buffalo Bayou's Sam's Daily Wake and Bake, which is their Sam's Daily Cream Ale, which is a delicious, hoppy, light, easy to drink cream ale. And then they took that and added coffee to it. So it's a very good partner to sitting down and listening to some vinyl.
Tell me a little bit more about Buffalo Bayou. Where are they? What do they primarily do?
They are off of I-10, some other road that goes north and south in NOLA. And they've been around for 5 years
Houston?
now. Yeah, in Houston. For 5 years. They actually just had their 5th anniversary party, which sadly I did not make it to. But they focus pretty much on one-offs. They have their go-tos. They have the 1836, the Sam's Daily, the More Cowbell, Don't Fear the Ripa, which are kind of their mass-produced beers. But then they make... Yeah, you can go there on any weekend and they're gonna have a beer that you haven't had before from them, and they just experiment all the time. So like they just started putting in bombers Mao Cowbell, which was what was it? It was the More Cowbell double IPA with more of a barley wine taste to it, and they called it their Mao Cowbell, like Mao Zedong. But they first started it with they put it out on a Saturday at the brewery. People started liking it, people asked for it more and more, and they turned it into a beer that they bottle now. So that's kind of how they function. And then they throw 3 or 4 big parties a year, which when you go there, it's usually $35-$40 for an all-you-can-drink ticket and a all-you-can-drink responsibly, and a glass. And they just have one-offs that they're only making for that party, and you basically get in line for one beer, get your beer, hop in the next line, drink your beer while you're in line, hop in the next line, drink your beer while you're in line, and just rotate the entire night as you're trying all of the 30 to 35 beers you've never had before.
Sounds like a fantastic time.
Yeah, sorry. It's one of my favorite breweries in Houston, so I get carried away when people ask me to start talking about them.
I'm drinking mine in my Public Radio Nerd pint glass that I got by pledging $5 a month to my local NPR station. You should do the same.
And I'm drinking out of a Taco Hut glass, which is, if you listen to LTD podcasts on a regular basis, I'm sure you've heard Taco Hut mentioned at some point.
Not a sponsor, but they are mentioned. Let's dive into some records, shall we? Going to start with one of my favorites from this artist. You may be expecting a different album here, but not their best sounding album, recording-wise, unfortunately, which sucks because the songs are so good. But if you get a chance to see them be performed live, they just sound amazing. It is King Diamond, Them. I've got an original pressing here on Road Racer, which I think was a subsidiary, I can't speak, or somehow related to Roadrunner. It's also got a Stop the Madness, Drugs Are No Fun thing on the back, so thanks to, I don't know.
Mad, probably?
It's not Stop the Madness with 2 Ds,
Oh.
so I'm not sure who to thank for this. Anyway, this is the album that came out after Abigail, which is a lot of people's favorite King Diamond album. My favorites from this era, really, though, are Them, and then followed by Conspiracy. Just, the songs are great, the stories are great. King is really into his own on these ones. Andy LaRocque's leads are amazing. just really love this one. I guess I love songs about grandmas, and there's a lot of grandmas on this album. Can't say enough about King Diamond. If you haven't heard of him, super high pitched. Nobody else sounds like him. Started in Merciful Fate, really, where he kind of became well known in the metal scene. Started King Diamond, mid '80s. Started with The Portrait, then Abigail, then Them. And then supposedly working on a new album, maybe 2017. I sure hope so. Would love to hear some new material, because Give Me Your Soul came out, I think, in 2008, and maybe 2009. Either way, it's been a long time. We need a new King Diamond record, but Them is one of my favorites. Glad to pick up and own an original copy on vinyl. What do you have for an obscure record for us?
So I'm going to preface this with both of the ones that I have were from, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 years ago. We went to a record store day in Houston, and I want to say it was a Vinyl Edge was where we went to.
That is correct.
And I randomly just grabbed 2 records while we were there that day, and I had no idea what I was buying. They were both combined under $10, and they're both very obscure, so I'm going to go through both of them. I'm going to start with an album from a band called Burial Year, which is apparently a German hardcore crossover metal band. And this one is from 2005, and on here it has a label that says less than 1,000 pressed overall. But this is Burial Year Pestilence.
Nice.
And it's a really solid album. I mean, it's really intense. It's only 10 songs overall. So, I mean, it goes by pretty quick, but the music's good. It's really solid quality, and I want to say they didn't put out more than maybe 3 albums total from what I've been able to find about them. But the reviews that I did find, this was regularly regarded as the best album they put out, but it was $7 for Record Store Day at Vinyl Edge in Houston, and I picked it up and never really heard of them since. So that's number 1 for the obscure.
And that was just a standard black vinyl on that one? Or?
Yeah, standard black vinyl on that one. Nothing overly complicated.
All right. I'm going to take you to Fate's Warning, No Exit. This is the first Fate's Warning album I heard on cassette in probably '95. There was this album, and then they had a best of called Chasing Time that also came out around the same same frame that I got interested in. This was my first kind of introduction to Fate's Warning, so I didn't really know much about the previous version of them with John Arch. This is the first album with, what's his face? Jeez, I really need to do some better research. On Ray Alder. Yes, Adler is the Lamb of God drummer, and Alder is the Fate's Warning singer. We're going to go with it. Sounds right. We do no research here. You listen to the podcast, you know it's true. Man, it's a big departure from their previous albums with John Arch. They really weren't diving into the progressive sounds that they do on later albums. This is kind of thrashy, and then the vocal range of Mr. Alder, that's really gonna bother me. I'm just gonna look. And then I'm not gonna be able to find it. Ray Alder. Oh, I feel so good now. Thank you. He's also from San Antonio, I believe, which is even better. Got to represent Texas. His voice is just phenomenal. Like, I would have put him in the band too. It's sad to me. I don't want to call people out. I know things happen or whatever, but he doesn't sing like that anymore. He's still a great, phenomenal singer. But if I could sing like this, I would sing like this all the time. I'd sing like this in the shower. I probably wouldn't even speak. I would just sing to you. That's how good the vocals are on this album. There's 5 awesome songs, and then the Ivory Gate of Dreams, which is an 8-part kind of song, which I guess that kind of leans towards some of their progressive stuff that they do later. This, I believe, is a reissue since it says Metal Blade Original 80s on the back. And it's just a standard black vinyl, but I needed to own it. It is a standard black vinyl, right? It sure is. Just because, when I was a 16-year-old trying to save up money for cassettes to find new bands, just, discovering Fates Warning and this being one of their albums. It's also produced by Max Norman, who produced a lot of the quintessential Megadeth albums that we've known to love. So, also very cool. Fates Warning, No Exit, Metal Blade Records, check it out.
Alright, and then number 2 for my obscure record store day purchases from a few years ago. This one was priced at $3, and it was in the metal section, and the cover doesn't look like a metal album at all, or I think it was misplaced actually, because the album is Tough Tuesday from Pure Country Gold. So, first off, doesn't sound like anything at all that would be in a metal section.
I thought Mondays were rough, try Tuesdays.
But then, this is actually a punk duo from Portland. So it was misplaced.
It's called Pure Country Gold.
Tough Tuesday in the metal section of Record Store Day. But yes, a punk duo from Portland. Again, 3 or 4 albums total.
It's like Kyle Gass on the front.
It does kind of. And then this one guy has a PBR and a koozie, so
that's definitely Portland then.
It instantly struck my heartstrings. But it was put out from Cave Punk Records, which this is the only thing I know of. But it's 2 guys, Patrick and Jake. With such songs as Moanin' in the Moonlight, Bitch, and King Kong Motherfucking King Kong. It's a good album. It's solid music. It's Portland punk rock, if I could ever come up with a description of it.
Huh.
And the extra benefit is it's on this super nice red and white splash vinyl.
That's awesome.
So it looks nice, it sounds nice, and it was a $3 pickup on Record Store Day.
And it's Pure Country Gold. My last one, not a huge surprise here, but it's my favorite Metallica album of all time, Ride the Lightning. It is still unopened, actually. I have no reason to. I don't have a good quality record player, which I should, but living in an apartment is difficult. So I'll open it when I get to it. I've heard it enough times I don't need to open it up. But favorite Metallica album because Kill 'Em All is very raw. I think Master of Puppets is very polished, and I think this is a combination of both. And it shows, the growth in their songwriting between Kill 'Em All and Red Lightning. It's also got a lot of credits to Dave Mustaine, and Megadeth is my favorite band, so I like that as well. Favorite tracks: Fight Fire with Fire, Ride Lightning, Chopped Under Ice, and Escape. I've heard For Whom the Bell Tolls, Faded Black, Creeping Death, and Call of Cthulhu so many times that I could never hear them again, even though it was my favorite Metallica record. Everything about it is just great. I would recommend if you've never somehow, if you're watching this video and you've never heard Metallica yet you're somehow watching us,
Something
welcome.
was missed somewhere, but
I don't know how you got here, but I appreciate you, and check out Ride the Lightning. I think you'll be pleased. It's fast. James still has the rawness in his voice. It's not nearly as polished as it is in Master of Puppets. And everybody just delivers a top-notch performance, so definitely why it's my favorite. That's it. I brought you some awesome favorite metal albums for myself. Ray Beans brought you some obscure records from a vinyl record store day past. And we're going to finish these beers and not crank some of these because, like I said, I don't have a record player, but we're going to pretend that we do.
We might look them up on Spotify, YouTube, some other source.
We're going to look them up on Spotify, and then I'm going to make Ray Bean stand and just spin around with the vinyl while I watch it.
This is going to be better than that, though.
You've been great. We've been Vinyl and Hops. We'll see you next time.